Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Deerassic at Home. Today we are talking about animal tracks. And just like the scoop on poop, you can take this information next time you go out in the woods and you find, for scoop on poop, if you found poop in the woods, you'd have a better idea as what that animal was, where that poop came from, which animal. Same with today. If you find different tracks of different animals out in the woods, hopefully after today you'll have a better understanding of what animal might have made that track. So we're going to talk a little bit about them at the beginning, and then just like the scoop on poop, we're going to play a game at the end. You guys ready? All right, let's get into it. So what do tracks tell us? So when you find a track out in the woods or in a field or in the sand or mud or whatever, look at the size of the print. That's the first thing you should look at, and it's going to help you decide the size of the animal. But not always true. Sometimes there's animals with a little bit bigger tracks, and they're a little bit smaller animal. Or sometimes there's a big animal that's got smaller tracks compared to the size of its body. But just for the most part, that's pretty accurate. Examine the type of foot, whether it's clawed, webbed, toed. This will lead you to what the animal uses its feet for: digging, hunting, moving, etc. So if it's got claws in there, it's probably going to be a predator, which means they eat meat. They're a carnivore. If it's got webbing, it means they probably live in the water. Depending on the toes, if it's got, maybe 4 or 5 toes, then they're going to be able to grip a hold of things better than something that's got 3 toes or 2 toes. Observe the similarities between the tracks. You can find family groups within the animals. Okay, Ohio's wildlife can be divided into 5 groups. And it's based on the amount of toes that they have. So there's 2-toed, which is white-tailed deer. So obviously they got a hoof, so they got 2 toes. 3-toed, which would be upland birds such as turkey or pheasant. 4-toed, that would be your rabbits, coyotes, foxes, bobcats. Then we've got 4-toed on the front and 5-toed on the hind feet. So this would be your mice, squirrels, chipmunks, groundhogs, muskrats. And then there's animals that have 5 toes on both their front and their hind feet, such as possums, raccoons, otters, beavers, skunks, black bears, and the mink. Just keep in mind it's not just specifically on this list. There can be stuff off this list, like for instance the 3-toed. That's pretty much going to be any bird in Ohio. Small little songbirds, upland birds, waterfowl, all kinds of stuff. But just to make it a little bit more simpler for today, we're just talking about upland birds such as the wild turkey or pheasant. Animal strides, so they can be broken up based on their strides and how they walk. So there's bounders, and bounders, their front feet land together, and then the rear feet land together behind. So this would be like your weasels, otters, badgers. Then you've got pacers. Pacers, their left front is next to the right rear track. So they almost kind of waddle back and forth. So this would be like your raccoons, possums, skunks, and black bears, all very closely related. And then you've got your diagonal walkers. So they move opposite sides at the same time. So the front leg moves with the right rear. These would be your cats, dogs, hoofed animals, so like cattle, deer, things like that. And then finally, you've got gallopers. So that's your front feet land first, and then the rear feet come on the outside of the front feet and land ahead. So these would be your rodents, squirrels, and rabbits. Okay, so kind of how a rabbit hops, those back feet are actually going to land in front of the front feet and on the outside of them. So a little bit different there. So one other thing I'll mention about finding animal tracks and identifying them, it's all going to be dependent on what type of soil or ground or texture that they're stepping in. Can you guys give me some examples of different things that you might be able to see a track better in, or things that would be not as easy to see a track in? Some things would be like snow is really easy to see tracks in. Mud is really easy to see tracks in. Sand is another pretty good one. Wet sand, more specifically, you can really see the outline of that track really, really good. More hard dirt, it's a little bit tougher to be able to identify tracks. Obviously, in a field and grass, you're not going to really see a track hardly at all. So there's different variations to be able to see whether the track is more identifiable and whether it's not. So you guys ready to take the test? All right, so what we're going to do for this game is I'm going to bring up a picture of the track. I'm going to give you guys slowly hints as to what the animal could be, and then I will reveal it. You guys ready? All right, so here's the first track. So it's got two toes. You can see there, so you guys remember what two-toed ones we talked about. Kind of look like hooves. All right, so this animal is a herbivore, which means it eats what? Plants. They have spots on their back when they're young. Okay, another hint. Males grow antlers every year. Ooh, that's a pretty good hint right there. You guys know what it is yet? And finally, it's Deerassic's mascot. What is that? It's the white-tailed deer. All right, so that's the first one. Hopefully you guys got that one, and I've got a little replica here so you guys can see a little bit better what that is. All right. All right, here's the next track, and I do not have a replica for this track, but you can see it's got four toes there. It's carnivore, which means it eats meat, even though you don't see any claw marks in the track right there. My fur helps me blend into my environment. Okay. And I have pointy ears and a short tail. Ooh. Some people call it a bobbed tail. You guys know what it is? And finally, I'm the mascot of Cambridge City Schools. So what is it? It's a bobcat. So that's bobcat tracks. Okay, here's the next one. It's got three toes. Looks like claws on there, which is kind of like claws. But this is an omnivore, which means it eats both plants and meat, possibly. This is more of a eats plants, eats insects, eats... they could eat things like snakes and lizards and frogs and stuff, but not too often. My young are called poults. Okay, so baby ones are called poults. In the spring, you can hear me gobbling from the roost. That's a big hint there. They like to gobble. Okay, so that's a sound they make. And the last one, I taste good on Thanksgiving. So what is it? It's a wild turkey. So that's wild turkey tracks. Okay. On to the next one. And I do have a replica for this one. So you guys can see it there. So this one's the front, and this one is the hind track. There's the replica for that one. Okay. Let's go through the hints. It's an omnivore. Okay, so it eats both plants and animals. I always wear a mask. Ooh, we've talked about this one before. I am nocturnal, which means they're awake at night, sleep during the day. And I love to get into your trash cans and chow down. What is it? It is a raccoon. That's raccoon tracks. So they've got five toes on both the front and the back. You can see the little tiny claw marks. They got the opposable thumbs. All right, here's the next one. Also has 5 on the front, 5 on the back. I've got the replica right here. Front, back, right there. Okay, so there's that one. And it's an omnivore as well. Okay, just like the raccoon. I carry my young in my pouch, and eventually when they get bigger, on my back. Okay, which makes them a what? We talked about this before. Makes them a marsupial. The only marsupial in North America. Okay. And my favorite trick is to play dead. So these guys like to play dead. Know what it is? It's possum. So they like to play possum. All right. Here's the next track, and I've got the replica right here so you guys can see it. Okay, here's the front and the back. They're pretty similar. You can see the little dots for the for the claw marks. So they got 4 toes on the front and on the back. It's a carnivore, so they eat meat. They have a great nose that can smell things up to a mile away, so they can smell really, really good. You guys think of any animals that can smell really, really good? They like to sing at dusk and midnight. They howl. Okay. And the Roadrunner always gets the best of me. You guys know what it is? It is the Coyote. So that's a Coyote track. All right. On to the next one. Which I've got the replica right here. Okay. So the color doesn't really matter, guys. But here's the front. Here's the hind. Okay. A little bit different looking, that one. But it looks like it's got claw marks. However, this is a herbivore, which means it just eats plants. Okay, so that kind of a little tricky on that one. They've got 4 toes on the front and on the back. They alert others of danger by thumping their hind leg. Okay, so they'll thump to let others know there's dangers around. They're always hopping around. They like to hop. You guys remember which animals hop? And Elmer Fudd has yet to get the best of me despite all his efforts. So you guys know what it is? It is rabbit tracks. So that's rabbit tracks, the eastern cottontail. Alrighty, on to the next one, which I've got right here. So this is the replica of those. So this is the front. Here's the hind. Okay. It's got 4 on the front, 5 on the back. Okay, and little tiny looking claw marks on there. It's a herbivore though, so it eats plants, or possibly nuts or acorns. Hint there. They are born blind. Okay, so the babies are born blind, and then eventually they gain their sight. They use their bushy tail to warn others of danger, so they'll kind of twitch it. And they like to store their food in trees, mainly acorns, like I said. So they live in trees, they like to eat acorns. You guys know what it is? Eastern fox squirrel, so it's squirrel tracks. Okay, the claw marks, they do have claws, but it's not to catch their prey, it's to climb up trees. Okay, so that's what they use their claws for. All right, here's the next one. I do not have a replica of this track. And always everybody asks me why there's the little lines through the tracks. That is from, they have a lot of fur in between their toes to help them be quiet and to be able to stock up on things. So they got 4 toes on the front and the back, 2 little claw marks there. But many don't know I'm an omnivore, so they like to eat plants as well as be a predator animal and eat meat. They hide their food and eat it later, so they'll store it down in a hole. Female is called a vixen, and a male is known as a dog. Kind of tricky. And they are very sly and cunning. Okay, and we've talked about this one as far as its skull and its poop as well. It is the red fox. Okay, so that is the red fox track. All right, last one here, and I've got the replica for it right here. It's really, really big. You can see it in relation to my hand. It's a very big track. Okay, you can even see the claws on there. Okay, and it's got 5 and 5 on both the front and the back. And it's got claw marks there. But it's an omnivore, so they eat plants as well. But they use those claws to catch their prey. They also use them to climb trees. I'm very rarely seen in Ohio and considered endangered in the state. So we've talked about this one before, if you guys remember. Although my name says different, I come in various colors. Okay. And my cousin Yogi likes to steal picnic baskets. You guys know what it is? It is the black bear. Okay, so that's a black bear track. All right. So it's pretty much all I have for today. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.